Mr. Russ Laggan.
Brass monkey, that funky monkey. Brass monkey with Charlie Chan.
All right, Brass Monkey, right? I mean, if this is Donkey Kong, I should be Brass Monkey, right? Thought I'd tie that together. Do you guys all know that Donkey Kong thing? Does everybody know that story? Okay, I just want to make sure, because I had to ask. I was like, what the heck is this thing with Donkey Kong going on? I'm like, I'm completely lost. And then I heard the story behind it, and I thought, heck yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because, like when I was originally talking to my in-laws about doing this, and I was explaining to them what it was, my mother-in-law looked at me and she goes, so basically you're just going to sit online and play games all the time? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like Donkey Kong. She still doesn't have any idea what I do. I've been married for 24 years. My mother-in-law is the most wonderful person in the world, but she still has no idea what I do on a day-to-day basis. It's like when you try to explain to her how a real estate agent does stuff, she's like, but I just don't understand what you do. What do you do, right? Well, let me finish the Donkey Kong commercial here. So if Glenn Sanford's Donkey Kong, I'll be Brass Monkey. Based on what Jonathan Dupree is doing, he's going to be King Kong soon, right? He's tall enough. He's got the hair for it. I mean, that guy's crushing it, right? He is like crazy, right? So I am what they call a serial entrepreneur. So what is a serial entrepreneur? It's not an entrepreneur that makes cereal. It's somebody that just can't stop themselves, right? So I started my first business in 1999. That was a pretty cool business. I had just come out of being in the kitchen and bath industry, helping people remodel houses. I was in project management design and then worked through the project part of it. And by the way, I don't know if you guys have ever had the kitchen done. Anybody ever had a kitchen done, remodeling done in their house? There's only one thing in the world that is more stressful than getting your house remodeled. Do you know what that is? Divorce. It's the only thing more stressful than remodeling a house. It's crazy, right? So I got out of the remodeling business doing kitchens, and I started my own countertop company making countertops out of concrete. Has anybody seen that? Yeah, cool stuff, right? In 1999, it was crazy because I would have to explain to people what the heck I was talking about. And I would say, I'm doing concrete countertops, blah, 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 blah. And then they'd go, well, you mean like the sidewalk? Yeah, exactly, like the sidewalk. It's $100 a foot, and it looks like the sidewalk, and we throw it in your kitchen. It's great. And you can draw on it with chalk and all kinds of stuff. No, I'm kidding. So it was like trying to build a new industry. Has anybody else in an industry ever tried to do something new that nobody's ever heard of before? Yeah, right? So it's like talking to you guys about EXP and talking to you guys about the real estate business and doing something different. You guys would have been the perfect candidates for concrete countertops because you'd be like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but it sounds cool. Let's try it, right? Yeah, I was $100 a square foot for that. And there was two things about concrete that you need to know, and I want to make sure we're clear on this just in case somebody's saying, Russ, that business sounds fascinating. It sounds really interesting. I should get into that business too. Okay, so there's two things about concrete that are really important. It gets hard, and it's really freaking heavy, right? Really heavy. And after you haul around concrete for a little while, you're like, okay, well, I'm in my 30s here, and this is already kicking my butt. It's like I've got two choices. I can either go big and get a bunch of people, or I can get out of this business and do something different with it. See, I was in the Detroit, Michigan market. Anybody here from Michigan? Yeah, a couple of people. You guys just came here so you could thaw out. I hear you, right? So when they're talking about, does anybody never been north ever in the wintertime? Anybody? There's a couple of you people. So let me make sure we're clear on this. It's really important that you understand this. So they were talking about 30. Randy, you said 30-something? Who said it was going to be 30-something below zero? So here's the deal. If it's 30 degrees below zero and you're outside and you're like, brr, I'm cold, right? If you can still speak at all and your face isn't frozen solid, you say, brr, it's really cold. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go inside your house, right? I want you to grab your refrigerator, drag it out into the front yard, plug it in, open the freezer, climb inside, and it's 40 degrees warmer. Right? Talk about cold, right? So you understand why I'm in Florida this time of year, typically. So I sold my concrete countertop company. The Detroit real estate market was getting destroyed. Did anybody watch that? Yeah, so 2002, 3, 4, Tony Drury was talking about being a coach for Chrysler in 2002 and 3. Chrysler laid off 40,000 people, GM laid off 40,000 people, and Ford, not wanting to be outdone, they laid off 40,000 people. So there's about 120,000 mid-level managers went out into the market. Well, mid-level managers in the auto industry make between $80,000 and $120,000 a year. So what happens when you get 120,000 people in one city that no longer have a job? Yeah, it's not like you can go to McDonald's and patch together $80,000 to $120,000 a year job, right? So you've got people that are smart that get it really early and they're like, oh, poo, or whatever else they might say. And they go, I need to do something now because this industry smoked. And then the people that were good took up jobs in the tier 1 industries and the tier 2 industries and the tier 3 industries. And the people that weren't able to find a job started doing the math and they're like, oh crap, I got to get out of here, right? So it was kind of funny in 2004 and 5, they're like, hey, last one out of Detroit, shut the lights off. Right? Because there's a lot of people who are leaving Detroit because there wasn't opportunity. So what happens to the people that are living in $300,000 and $400,000 and $500,000 houses? They sell their house, right? And they can't sell their house because nobody's buying, and then, so they drop the price on their house. So what happens to the people in $200,000 and $300,000? Now they're trying to sell a house at $300,000 when the guy across the street selling his $400,000 house for $300,000, right? So I sold my concrete countertop company. I said, this is not the market I can build this business in, and I had this absolute brilliant stroke of genius. You're going to love this. Ready? So what business would you get into in 2005 if the real estate market was getting destroyed? Smartest guy in the room, right? So I get into the real estate business. I'm like, I can do this, right? I know a lot about houses. I've been in the industry. Got rid of my countertop company, sold that. That was cool. Learned some valuable lessons, like know what the heck you're doing on the way out before you get into business. Know what you're doing on the way out, right? And I go into the real estate office after I get my license. I'm super proud of myself, and I sit down I grab the number 1 agent in the real estate office, and I'm like, hey, I'm new to the real estate business. I'm the new guy in the office, and I heard you're the number 1 guy. I heard you're doing a great job, and you're doing really good stuff, and I'd like to take you out to lunch, and I'll buy. And the dude's like, you buy me lunch, I'm going to eat lunch anyway, so I'll let you pay, right? So I go out to lunch with this guy, and I sit down, and I come up with this brilliant question, and the question's something like this. If you were me and you're brand new in this real estate business, what would you do? And you know what his response was? Get out of the real estate business, right? So that's how I moved to Tampa, Florida. So I moved to Tampa, Florida, got into the real estate business, 2005, knowing 0 people and having no idea how to do real estate, and that's how I had to learn how to build my real estate business. So you want to talk about determined? You want to talk about somebody that's going to figure it out, somebody that's going to take it to the next level, somebody that's going to find a way to make it no matter what happens? That's what you got to do. That's a belief in yourself, and you got to go from point A to point B and say, here's where I am right now, and here's where I want to be, and you just got to figure out what the plan is in between there, right? So I'm going to leave you with 2 things that are really important. Number 1, if you want to connect to real estate agents consistently, you want to connect to real estate agents with good stuff, and you want them to come to you on a regular basis, here's what you do. You have a real estate market update in your back pocket all the time. Do you guys all have that? Because here's the thing. I hear people saying all the time, well, I can't connect with real estate agents. How do I connect with real estate agents? Do you have something they want? Because you can't start with, hey, you join EXP? You can't start with that, right? If you're the person that delivers value to them consistently, what you'll find is over time, they will want to talk to you, and over time, you're going to have people that come to you instead of chasing business. So how many of you want to chase business? No, you want to attract business, right? So you have something to attract them. So I will tell you the one thing that I've done over the years that gave me the best traction of all time is having a real estate market update, because everybody wants a real estate market update. So let me ask you a question. If I had a video on how to do a good real estate market update on video, would you guys want that? I feel like I should give you a book. I wonder if it's, hey, is Tony still here? Is there another book you can give away? I feel like I want to give away one of his books because they're great, right? So do a real estate market update. So connect to me on Facebook, and I'll shoot out to you guys next week a video on how to do a good real estate market update, because I've seen them done horribly, right? So here's the thing. If you become the resource for people on what's going on in their market, will they see you as an expert? Will they be more willing to listen to you when you talk about something good if you're their expert? Yes. Absolutely. Right? So here's the other part about recruiting that's super, super important when you're talking to a real estate agent. There's 2 things you need to establish. Number 1 is, where are they now? Ask them lots of questions on where they are now. It's super important that you know where they are now. And then the second set of questions is, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? See, if I can tell the story of like, where are they now? And then find out from them where they want to be, there's a space, there's a gap between these two, and that gap is where we can create solutions. If you can create solutions, you can get paid. Do you agree? It's a powerful process, right? And how do you then create that solution? You figure out how can we work together, and you always have to be saying what is in their best interest. I sat with a guy last week. I said, where are you at right now? Where do you want to be? And when we had that conversation, you know what that solution in the middle was? That solution in the middle was, this is not a good fit, right? Not a good fit. So here's the thing. I want you all to have this in your repertoire. Tony Jerry talked about this earlier today, right? She's talking about that mindset and that thing you're saying and that thing that's going on in your head and that program that's going on in your head. And here's what I want you to say. For some of you guys, you're thinking about hitting home runs. You've heard about people hitting home runs. Good for them. They can hit home runs. What I want you guys to be thinking is, how do I hit base hits every single month, right? So right now, I want you to be focused on, here's what I want you to focus on. You can steal my affirmation. I will attract 2 or more real estate agents every single month. And then get really clear on what they are. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. I will attract 2 or more real estate agents every month. I've already got my 2 for January. Good? I'm working on my 2 for February, right? If you start doing those numbers over a year, you're going to be up in the numbers with all the people that are top dogs in this business, right? It's not the big hit where you get 20 or 30. It's get your 2, then get your 2, then get your 2, and get your 2. When you get really clear on who those people are, here's who I want, here's what they look like, here's what they smell like, here's what they talk like, they're motivated, they're driven, and they're nice, that's somebody I want to talk to. Get clear on what you want, and then you're going to start to see it, just like Tony said. When you get really clear on what you want, you start to see it. Thank you. I'm Russ Laggan.